Hello there, and welcome to a short video lecture with respect to professional appointments under ISO 210. With respect to P7, it must be remembered there are certain procedures should be in place after the acceptance of an engagement. However, agreeing in terms of an engagement is governed by ISO 210 and there are a number of elements. First, these elements are preconditions. The auditor must ensure that there are sufficient preconditions in place before the acceptance of an engagement. Examples of such may be that there is a common understanding between the auditor and management. The management have an appropriate financial reporting framework in place. That they fully understand their responsibilities in terms of producing financial statements. And also that management give full access to backup and explanations as requested by the auditor. Secondly is that of limitations. If limitations are actually less risky, sufficient safeguards should be put in place by the auditor in order to mitigate these risks. However, if any limitations from the client are deemed to be very significant, this must be assessed in terms of any impact that there could be in the audit report, i.e. if there is any limitation of scope. If this is deemed to be incredibly high risk, the assignment should not be accepted. Any audit work must also be agreed with the client. An example of this should be, or for example, could be corporation tax. In terms of appointment as auditor, there are two elements to this. The first one should be that the resignation of the previous auditor should be documented in a letter and be filed in the company's house. Second element is that the appointment of a new auditor must be included as part of the board minutes of the client's AGM. Agreeing in terms and conditions, that actually means having the engagement letter agreed, and we'll talk about this in the next slide. Respective groups, there are a number of options in terms of engagement letter. One can be to issue engagement letters to all group companies and the parent company. Second option is then to have one engagement letter addressed to the parent company only, but to detail all subsidiary companies as an appendix to this letter. So what are the elements of an engagement letter? There are a number of issues here. First one is that the scope, the objective and limitations of the audit process are detailed and explained to the client. Secondly, the responsibilities of both management and the auditor is detailed. So for example, that the responsibility of management to produce true and fair accounts, and also that it's the responsibility of the auditor to conduct an audit in accordance with the international standards. Thirdly, communications. This is detailed whether it be written and oral and what circumstances each take place, whether what is the common point of contact between the two parties, and also any procedures that should be adopted if there are any grievances that arise. Fourthly, it's the financial reporting framework, and this details that management should prepare accounts to give a true and fair view that are in accordance with Companies Act regulations and in accordance with applicable accounting standards. It's also explained that the auditor should conduct the audit in accordance with the international standards in auditing. And finally, the most contentious issue, that's the fees. So fees are normally agreed up front with the client, however, it's signed off and fully agreed as part of the engagement letter. This is a brief flow chart which tries to explain the relationship between a potentially outgoing auditor, potential new auditor and the client. So if a member of an audit firm has been asked to accept nomination as auditor, for example as part of a tendering process, they will actually write to the client seeking permission to communicate with the existing auditor. If this permission is refused, they should not go forward with trying to accept the engagement. However, if permission is given, the nominee writes to the existing auditor asking if there is any information or explanations that will prevent them from accepting the nomination and hence the engagement. In turn, the existing auditor will revert back to the client to say, can we respond to this letter? And if this permission is refused by the client, the nominee declines any nomination to accept the engagement. However, if permission is given, the existing auditor will will respond by form of a letter and initiate discussions between the old auditor and the potential new auditor in terms of discussing if there are any issues that should prevent the nominee in accepting the engagement. So thank you. That was a brief overview in terms of professional appointments. Hopefully it was of some benefit. So thanks very much again, and good luck with your studies.